Nobody wants to see violence. Nobody wants to see chaos.
It's my privilege to present our nation's highest civilian honor to some just incredible people.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And standing here with my president.
What do you say to people who think you guys should have postponed it or declined it altogether?
This week, we're in Orlando, Florida with Annika Sorenstam.
I think I've hit enough. Now it's your turn.
The Golf Hall of Famer unbreaking barriers during her career.
You have to have the courage to try something. Don't be afraid.
A business lesson from a close friend.
Tiger Woods told me this once time too.
And the personal growth from her divorce.
My golf ball listened, but my partner didn't listen.
Plus, she and husband Mike share their son's fight for survival.
I thought we lost our son. Simple as that.
But we start in Washington, D.C., with never-before-seen footage from the 2021 Presidential Medal of Freedom ceremony. President Donald Trump awarded the honor to Sorenstam and Gary Player and posthumously to Babe Zaharias the morning after the deadly U.S. Capitol riots.
It's my privilege to present our nation's highest civilian honor to some just incredible people, the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
I want to say thank you for all you have done and the service to our country. Particularly during the coronavirus crisis. I know it's been very tough and challenging, but many congratulations on rollout of the vaccine in warp speed.
Mr. President, I stand in this room with you, sir, and all these wonderful guests in this wonderful White House, which has helped change the world for the better.
The Medal of Freedom ceremony on January 7th, 2021 seemed like any other day, at least inside the White House.
Gary earned the title Mr. Fitness. He just told me, he said, "Sir, lose a couple of pounds." I said, "Okay, Gary." He said it in front of Annika. That was very rude, but don't you? How rude can you be?
The afternoon prior, chaos reigned as rioters breached the U.S. Capitol, incited by remarks from President Trump, who repeated his false claims his failed 2020 re-election was stolen.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong. 5
people died and more than 100 were injured. The mob threatened the lives of both Democrats and Republicans, including Vice President Mike Pence.
We're being instructed to each of us get a gas mask.
I had a very close encounter where I thought I was going to die.
The Medal of Freedom ceremony was originally scheduled for March 2020, but delayed due to COVID-19. We were the only press allowed to attend, and we spoke with Sorenstam, her husband Mike, and Gary Player following the ceremony.
How strange is it being here today after yesterday?
I think we're all just very sad to see. Nobody wants to see violence. Nobody wants to see chaos. And so it's just, I think it's a tragedy, but I'm hoping for a better day.
We respect the office of the president, no matter who's in office. She was going to accept the award always, no matter who it was from. And things happened the way they did. We had no idea what was going on. Everybody, our guests were already here. We were already en route, and it happened. It was a shame. It was an awful day in our history.
There's so many people today that criticize. They criticize you because you have a splinter in your eye, and they have a log in theirs. So we're living in very strange times at the moment. But this is an honor bestowed upon me by the #1 man in the world, the President of the United States.
Player's estranged son blasted his father on Twitter, with other national outlets also criticizing the golfers for accepting their medals. The following week, New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick turned down the honor. Meanwhile, Donald Trump became the first U.S. president to be impeached twice.
There's no question, none, that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day.
Gary Player declined to update his comments for this episode. However, Annika Sorenstam addressed the fallout more than a month later when we sat down at her Orlando home for a visit already scheduled before the riots.
One of your greatest strengths, you said before, is the ability to just never, second guess. In the weeks since the ceremony, has that strength been put to the test for you?
I would say, quite a bit. I've spent some time thinking about it because obviously the exception or the acknowledgement has been very mixed. I've received quite a bit of positive feedback from friends and family, but then there have been some, not so positive, and I've heard those and I've listened to those.
What did you hear in terms of like the critics?
I'm going to be honest, I haven't been on social media since then. The other things that I've heard, the negativity is not necessarily, my achievements, but, the timing. It was awful what happened at the Capitol. I mean, you were there. Actually, when we arrived, it was cleared.
Right.
But what happened, I do not agree with violence. I do not think that type of behavior is acceptable. And I certainly know, and we all know, that type of actions don't solve problems. And so I'm sad about, January 6th in American history. I share the sadness, absolutely.
What do you say to people who think you guys should have postponed it or declined it altogether?
I understand. I totally understand. I get it. And she understands too.
Here we are, a month later?
Yeah.
And, I don't look back. I'm focusing on the future. I look at this award and I'm part of a group that made the world a better place.
There was a moment like in your speech where you thanked the president for his service to the country, and it was interrupted by a standing round of applause. It seemed like you were very uncomfortable.
I don't have a lot of experience, being around presidents, And so, I think everybody knows that growing up, I was very shy. I always wanted to take the trophy and run. I always wanted to do that, and that's, hasn't changed.
Hindsight's obviously 2020. Would you do anything differently from that experience?
I think that, putting energy on things that I can't really control is not been my thing, and it's time to move on. Second guessing is just, I just don't, it's just not part of my nature.
How did you explain the controversy surrounding it to your kids?
I think what we have said is, people have different opinions. This country is divided, and we have to listen to everybody. To our children, Ava and Will, you are my biggest trophies. We love you so much, and we're so proud of you. I knew I would stumble on this one. Last but not least, my wonderful husband, Mike. You're my rock and pillar. My life is so much better and fun with you in it. You have encouraged me to find peace and strength in who I am. You helped me to pursue my interest in work, and you're an amazing, loving dad. Let me assure you, this is the greatest honor I've ever received. But my dreams aren't complete here today. We will continue to inspire the next generation.
Any truth to the fact that you initially doubted your decision to pursue golf?
Born in Sweden to Tom, an IBM executive, and Gunilla, a bank employee, Annika Sorenstam gravitated to tennis as a child, not playing golf until she was 12 years old. By the time she was 16, she was already a scratch golfer. After receiving a scholarship to play at the University of Arizona, Sorenstam made the journey to the United States, taking the language challenges in stride.
All of a sudden, I just kind of forgot what everything was called, and I remember I told him I need one of these, like he goes, a pillow.
When you first failed to qualify for the LPGA Tour at Q School, any truth to the fact that you initially doubted your decision to pursue golf?
I mean, I'm sure it was there, you know, because I actually thought, oh, this was the end of my career, you know, like,
Really?
where am I going to play? You know, I've been in America now for 2 years, and so, you know, I think I felt a little sorry for myself for a few moments.
Following successful tournaments in Europe, Sorenstam qualified for the LPGA the next season. She cemented her status as arguably the best female golfer ever, winning 10 major championships. In 2003 at Colonial, Sorenstam became the first woman to play in a men's PGA Tour event since fellow Medal of Freedom recipient Babe Zaharias in 1945. Some golfers, like Vijay Singh, objected, saying, "I hope she misses the cut." Why? Because she doesn't belong out here.
The negativity doesn't motivate me. I think the positive comments motivate me, or just emphasizes that it was a good thing. My intention wasn't, you know, to go there and, you know, put them on their spot. On the contrary, it was me. I had to really play well to, you know, to even be able to perform. I missed the cut, and I said, you know, I'm going to take everything I've learned to the LPGA, and it will help my game, it will help the LPGA, it will help women's golf, it will help women's sports. And that to me was a win-win. And you know, if you want to grow yourself and mature and get better, you have to kind of get uncomfortable to see what you're made out of.
Sorenstam would win 5 straight LPGA Player of the Year honors before retiring in 2008. But the Golf Hall of Famer returned to the tour in February 2021, playing at her home course in Orlando as part of her preparation for the U.S. Senior Women's Open. When we sat down with Sorenstam, she addressed the challenges of competing in the tournament while also serving as president of the International Golf Federation.
The biggest responsibility they have is, you know, it's the Olympics, and that happens to be literally exactly the same week as, you know, some of the scheduling. So my friends at IGF and the people that I work with, they're giving me the thumbs up. You know, if we don't support these events, they will go away. So I feel a little bit, you know, responsible to support these events too. So trying to just do what the right thing is. Yeah, I think going through such a, you know, horrible time, you look at yourself and you go, what's wrong with me? You were in the green.
I made it.
See, yeah.
All right, last one.
So see, now you're bit by the bug too.
No, I'm just seeing if I'll hit anybody. All right.
All
Enough.
Right. Well, got something to work on. How about that?
Early on in your career,
Yeah.
how did you go about finding smart ways to save money?
I'm not really a materialistic person. You know, I don't have the latest technology. I don't splurge on fancy clothing. I buy blueberries when you get 2 for 1. You know, and if we don't get 2 for 1, we're having raspberries. But that's just my personal philosophy, and maybe that's being a little bit of Swedish in me.
Analytically driven on the course, Annika Sorenstam also plays the long game in the stock market and real estate. Eager to take a deeper dive into business and retirement, Sorenstam has developed a clothing line and designed golf courses, some of which she scaled back on.
Tiger Woods told me this once time too, is, you know, you do less to get more. I mean, that was his thing, and I felt like I do a lot for less.
Sorenstam's instead focusing her efforts on the Annika Foundation, aiming to encourage young female athletes to take up golf and help them get noticed through 7 annual global tournaments.
One of the stories that touches my heart is we had a young lady from South Africa. She ended up losing in a playoff, and she walked away with a bigger smile because she got a scholarship. I remember telling Mike, I said, this is why we do this, you know, for these young girls to get this opportunity.
I think she inspires them. I think they view her as an idol. When events start out, the new girls that maybe hadn't played one of our events before, they're very quiet. At the end of the week, it's selfie, arm around, you know, swarming her. It's really cool to see.
Sorenstam's husband, Mike, is managing director of the Annika brand and is son of former PGA golfer Jerry McGee. Annika and Mike crossed paths at tournaments, but nothing serious developed until Sorenstam reached out after going through her divorce.
What did going through the divorce teach you about what you were looking for in a partner?
Well, I think going through such a, you know, horrible time, you look at yourself and you go, what's wrong with me? You know, I think the best advice I got from somebody is, you know, it's like, you know, you go into a dance with somebody, and if that person doesn't want to dance, it's going to be very difficult. And this was my life. You know, if you're going to live with somebody, they need to be part of it. I was in control on the golf course. Like, I was in control what club to hit, where to hit it. My golf ball, listen, but my partner didn't listen.
You knew right away she was the one.
Yeah. I just felt this connection with her, and she was going through a rough time, and then I was patient and didn't make any moves or anything. So my mom told me the best advice ever, that every relationship has a king and every relationship has a queen. It made immediate sense that she is the king in our relationship. People bust my chops, call me Mr. Sorenstam, and I laugh and I'm like, it's Mr. Annika.
Annika and Mike got married in January 2009, and their daughter Ava was born later that year. We discussed motherhood when we first met Sorenstam in September 2010.
Being on the golf course certainly tests my patience. You need patience when you have children.
But it would be nothing like the trials of her second pregnancy, giving birth to son Will 3 months early.
I just remember having to go to the bathroom, which, are not unusual when you're pregnant. And so I turned on the light, and it was like my white sheets were like just red, and so I freaked out.
I thought we lost our son. Simple as that.
But and then he came out 16 hours later. He hadn't developed his lungs yet. His skin wasn't ready. I mean, he was kind of see-through. I mean, he was 2 pounds and 12 ounces. I've never seen anything like it.
When you're in the NICU for 57 days and listening to some of the stories from other families that ended up being less fortunate, what are you thinking?
I remember just, on occasion say, why is this happening?
Each day we'd go in and ask what happened during the night, and they would say he stopped breathing 38 times and his heart stopped and all these things, and it was just education by fire.
Explain why he's not named Nicholas Alexander.
Yeah, so, every parent probably has names lined up, and then when this happened, I remember laying there in this bed, and I looked at Mike, I said, we need to name him Will.
When we knew that it was touch and go and he may not make it, we knew that he needed the will to live, so we made it William Nicholas.
I think I've hit enough. Now it's your turn. But I think I'm safe.
I don't think so. Your mom played golf when she was pregnant with you. Your dad was an accomplished handball player. How competitive was the family?
We were very competitive. Cards would fly, chess pieces would fly. So we had to learn how to temper manage our temperament.
The competitive gene that turned Annika Sorenstam and her sister Charlotta into pro golfers also exists in Annika's 2 kids, Will and Ava. We witnessed that when we tagged along to play pickleball.
Are you got the young against the old?
Yeah, we're gonna destroy you guys.
What?
Let's go, boys versus girls.
Oh,
yeah! Ava, great reflexes, sweetie.
Graham, are you ready? You ready for this challenge?
All right, Will, give me some pointers.
Okay, if you're ever gonna try to hit as hard as you can, aim it at the posts, because if it hits them, then it counts as a point. It still counts as it's in.
We'll give you a mulligan. One more. I get it here.
Who's the most famous person on the golf course you've given a mulligan to?
Bill Murray one time. He needed a few.
No, that's out.
Yeah, that was match fine.
How often do you guys play?
Well, we play at least once a month. Last year, Henrik Stenson and his wife, they beat us. People were watching outside the fence here, and Mike got so nervous. He's like, how can I mess up for these friends?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember I choked on the center court right here, and she's trying to make me feel better, and she's like, sweetie, it's okay, you just gotta use to play in front of people. And I was like, total dagger.
We then headed back to Sorenstam's recently renovated house, originally built by famed golf coach David Ledbetter. The stunning 7-acre property includes sand volleyball, tennis courts, lemon, orange, mango, and banana trees, and a view of Lake Nona.
You ever imagine, when you were a little kid, your life would turn into
and
what
not
it
like
has?
this. No, I mean it's a fairy tale. It's more than a dream come true. I've been lucky in a lot of ways. I think most of the days I realized, wake up and let's just cherish life.
And appropriately, there's a spot to practice her golf game and teach a few lessons to son Will.
But I have learned that the more I say, the less he listens.
Oh, really?
So
Is that true, Will?
Yes. So I don't say a lot. I think I've hit enough. Now it's your turn.
All right, how about giving a tip for, that was pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm just setting the standard for you.
All right, how about a pointer or two?
Well, you aim with the club face, okay? That's number one. If you've done other sports which you look like you're athletic, you know, whether it's been basketball or tennis, you know, you like to have good balance. And then just kind of have your arms a little relaxed and take the club back, which is using your body and not just your arms. But I think I'm safe.
I don't think so.
Oh, see? Look at that. You're laughing. I don't know. I thought that was pretty good. What do you think?
Good for a beginner.